So there was a fitness challenge that my daughter Katie did. And then I did it too. I completely fell down. I mean, at least I didn't gain weight. I did lose weight, but I should have been down. I think I should have been down 12 pounds already. I think I'm down 4. My whole point of saying that is that the way that worked was some people started on the 1st, some people started on the 7th, some people started on the 4th, that kind of thing. I'd like people to be able to jump in right where they are and have it begin that way. This way, you got the momentum when you start, and I think the challenge will keep the momentum. But on top of that, even, for those of us who, streamline on a regular basis, we can get complacent. We can, kind of like think, it doesn't matter anymore, everything's all right, and, kind of let some things go and stuff. And also just, we have to dejunk on a regular basis, whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for 40 years. Like, it doesn't matter. Every organizationally gifted person you know does this on a regular basis. Every one of them. Not a challenge, but they go through the house. Now, they might not do it systematically the way we do in sections of the house. We do that only because we have to have some sort of a guideline. So we say, okay, we're here, now we're here. It's what we need. So lots of people, like I know, that are organizationally gifted, they have this inner something that ticks in them, and they just do it. They just do it. Like, they'll just pass something and do it. They'll be in a certain area, and all of a sudden they just go into a cabinet and do it. Who cares? There's lots of stuff that we do that they don't do. So it's not about comparing ourselves to others. It's not about judging ourselves, good or bad, or right or wrong, or any of that. It's really just a fun way that we can stick to housework and actually living the life that we want to live. Because the reason we got into this to begin with wasn't really because we wanted the house cleaned up. Yeah, granted, we wanted the house cleaned up. But after a little while, it really got to be where we realized that our stuff was holding us back even after we got it, where it was good now. Whereas if it was like months ago or maybe a year ago, we would have thought we were in, Betty Crocker heaven. We'd been like, oh my God, this is great. But then after we lived with it for a while, we realized, no, I still have things holding me down. Do I really need this? Remember my big lesson that I learned when I started to explore the minimalism thing? Just by dejunking, thinking minimalism, there were so many things I got rid of that I never would have gotten rid of. At that time, I wasn't selling my house yet. Of course, it was always kind of in the back of my mind, but it wasn't like for sale. It wasn't on the market. I wasn't selling it. I was still the, Italian mother from New Jersey with 5 kids, and this was my home, and I've lived here for 16 years, and I'm going to probably live here for another 16 years. So the things that I had in my drawers, like I had a drawer in my office that I called my office. It wasn't an office, just an empty room that I had a dresser in, and in that dresser, I kept all my office supplies and things like that. So I opened one of the drawers, and I looked at it, and I said, all right, if I was going to dejunk this drawer, because it was my zone, if I was going to dejunk this drawer with a minimalist mindset, what would I do? It changed everything for me. I had greeting cards, a stack of greeting cards in there that, were there for a long time. And I just thought, well, so what? I had a lot of other things in there that was there for a long time. So with the mindset of, I live here and I'm going to live here forever, all right. But with the mindset of, what do I actually need? If God forbid there was a fire, God forbid, or God forbid I, got hit by a bus, right? And somebody had to come in, or my kids had to go through my stuff. I don't care. Listen, I've done this, all right? I've done this where I've done it with friends, and I've done it as the tidy tutor being paid. Going to help somebody because their parents either passed away or they were in a nursing home, and they had to go through all of their things. And I'll tell you, none of those people that I helped, parents, were hoarders. None of them were a mess. Personally, I think they were kind of hoarders, but they were hoarders in a way that was so acceptable. None of them were in a mess. Everything was tidy. Everything had a place. Every drawer had their only little compartments. Everything was organized. But oh my God, how much stuff. Like there was somebody that just mentioned about, and if you're on this call, please, chime in if you want to. The cabinets, like I have empty cupboards now. It feels not quite right. She said, this is like kind of scary because like I have empty cabinets now. What do you do with empty cabinets? Well, I understand why. Like, I'm just going to give you one example of that house that I went in. They had a really nice sized kitchen, right? It was old. It was probably from the 1960s, maybe, but it was big. So there were, I don't know, maybe 15 drawers, maybe more, right? Because it was a U shape, and it had drawers on the top, then some drawers that were down. And so on this side of the cabinet, the drawers, there were, rubber bands and all that kind of stuff, and corkscrews and, that kind of, and then all the way on this side of the kitchen, It was almost like an identical drawer. Why? Because they could. And if you look at it like that, if you look at it like, well, so what? It's okay. I'm never going to leave here. This is my home. I'm going to stay here until I die. And, I have all this room, all this space, and it's not bothering anybody. It's fine. And in a way, it's very true. But in a way, it's not. Because it was really difficult for her. It was really difficult. Not because she was like, oh, I love this rubber band that belonged to my mom. Not that. But there was enough of that stuff of, oh, this meant something to my mother. What do I do with it? There was enough of that to have to deal with without having to be like another drawer of utensils, another drawer of knickknacks, of office supplies, another drawer of the same. There was just more of. Some were broken, some were good, some were better than others, some were still in boxes, all of that kind of thing. So yeah, in a way, it really does hurt. All right, and you can look at it this way too, another thing. God forbid the house burns. All right, God forbid that happens. Do you really want to go through all of that crap that you don't care and is not serving you? If we even think feng shui, right? It would blow one of their, like they would just blow a gasket thinking about all of that energy that is connected to all of that stuff. And that feng shui thing has always been sort of in the mystical realm, like the religious almost. And now we're finding out this stuff is real. Everything is energy. Everything is energy, and everything gives off something, and everything is connected to something. And so if we really think that everything is fine, it's all right, and it doesn't affect us, we're wrong. We're absolutely wrong, because it does. So there's some of the reasons why we really want to pare down, not for the sake of it, though. Not like let's say, like when I was in my house that I moved from, I had a china closet, I had my china in there. I'm not going to get rid of my china. Why? Well, I don't know. I liked it. It served me. I used it periodically. Well, let's say I never used it. It would be my prerogative. It would be my choice. What do you want to do? We're not doing anything we don't want to do. We're not getting rid of stuff strictly for the sake of getting rid of it. It's got to be, all of this is between you and you. And all I'm doing is offering some insight, some structure, and some help along the way. That's bottom line what I'm offering. And also just some experience. Like, let's say my front porch, all right? Even if I didn't move out of that house, all right? Even if I didn't move and I stayed there, when I went into the front porch to change it, because I had a picture on a Pinterest board and I loved the picture, and I said, I want to do my porch like this. And then I went to my porch to go to do it, and what happened was I said, oh, I can't do that because I love this and I love this. Let me shut off my phone so it doesn't ring. And, oh, but there's that. And then I started realizing that I was getting like little anxiety pains about it and feeling like I was giving up me by giving up that porch. And that's when I had to step back and say, wait a minute. This stuff has way more freaking authority over my life than I want. These are things. I want to do something different with this room. But this stuff is stopping me from doing it. Now, why was that? Because the stuff that was in there represented who I used to be. Remember, we've done this on a few coffee talks where we talk about that we're always graduating. We're always graduating from one thing to another, to another, to another. You're this now you grew up, now you're this. Now you got married, now you're that. Now you had a baby, now you're this. Now your babies grew up, now you're this. You see what I mean? Most of the time, it does come with a graduation. Most of the time, it does come with a bon voyage or a sending off or a ceremony or something like that. As we get older, that doesn't happen. Like, let's say, even like having a baby. You have a baby shower. So maybe you have a room and, you're having a baby. So what is the next thing to do? You have to make a baby room. Well, maybe that room was a spare room. Or maybe it was your office. Or maybe it was a room that you kept all of your stuff you didn't know what to do within. Whatever it is, now you have a ceremony. You have a moving the baby into the house ceremony, and what do I have to do for that? And so it becomes systematic, and it becomes something that we just kind of grandfather in. This has to get done. Sometimes we come to a point, and it happens for us, especially when we reach my age, and it doesn't have to be my age, all right? It could just be that your kid went to college, or you decided to take your two kids that had one room, your two girls, and move them into one room so that you can have this room that you needed for that, right? There's always something. When we have something that's a reason to do it, it's easy. When we don't, it's not so easy. And it's only because of the whole comfort zone thing. See, there's a lot of stuff that is intertwined with the dejunking process, a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's not so hard because, we want the house to get in order. There aren't a lot of things attached to these things. Oh my God, how many corkscrews do I need? Oh, look, I have 3 can openers. I don't need 3 can openers. Some things, especially when you're first getting started, it's fun. It's exciting. You can do it. As we get on and on, it gets a little bit more difficult. It could get a little more difficult when you get to those harder items, like things that meant something to you. It could get a little bit more difficult when you really feel like you really did get rid of all this, extra stuff that you really don't need. But now you're thinking like what I was when I went into that room and I looked in that drawer and I said, wait, do I really need all of these cards? Do I really need 2 staplers? Do I really need this paper cutter? When was the last time I used that paper cutter? Now for me, I was thinking, well, what's the difference? I've got this house. The paper cutter fits there. But for all of those reasons that I said before, what my friend had to go through when her mother and father passed away. Now remember, I'm not thinking I'm going to, hit the bucket or anything like that. Is it kick the bucket or hit the bucket? Yeah, let me hit that bucket. Kick the bucket or anything like that. And I'm not, but I mean, holy mackerel, who the heck knows? Like, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow or something like that, somebody's got to come in and do something with my stuff. Why don't I do something with my stuff? Why don't I? And then find out what happens on the inside of me when I do. Because I'm telling you, there's a release. There's a freedom in this. Remember, the whole minimalism thing is such a big deal to me because people who had it all together and all of their stuff was ordered, they could have company over anytime, they were not a mess, never struggled with a mess, that they had excess. They had way more than they needed. They had a garage with shelves and shelves of things. They might have been neat and orderly, but there was more things than they possibly needed. And so what they discovered was when they got rid of stuff and they minimized and had only what they needed, they got happier. Okay? Now, we get that because, well, not that exactly. We get that when the house gets in order and we don't have a whole bunch of crap hanging around, we get happier. Yeah, you can find your shoes, you can find your keys, you can have company, you can throw that party, you can sit down and read a book and not feel guilty. So much is connected to that. But what about when we're talking about people that can have a party, can have people over, can sit down and read a book, can do something without feeling guilty, can find a pen, know where their shoes are? What about when those people live with less, get happy? There's something to that. All right, there's something to that. So this is for everybody. This is for everybody that has it all together now, because I know there's many of us in, like I know Rose. Rose said, my house is really so good, I think a 10-year-old could pack it. So there's lots of us in here that started way on the bottom and are like, kind of doing happy dance now, that still will benefit from this. And then, of course, those of us who are like, oh my God, will too, Not to mention the weekends that we spend managing our stuff instead of living our lives, all right? If it wasn't for Tidy Tutor, I wouldn't have done the porch. And the reason for that is, and the only reason I did the minimalist thing for the drawer was because, Christina introduced the minimalist to our group. Everybody was really talking about it. It seemed to be an interest to them. So how could I ignore it? I couldn't. I went to see them and speak, and I started to dejunking thinking minimalist instead, and it changed everything. When I went to see them speak and they talked about their mother's 4 boxes under her bed with 1, 2, 3, 4, from his first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, never opened, always moved back and forth. It gave me a real clear vision of what the heck are we keeping? And me too, because I had an attic with my kids, stuff in there. Now, I don't think that you have to get rid of them. Look at them. If you really sincerely care about that, like I told you, I don't know, I don't remember if I did it on here. I know I did a video on this, of my sister who repurposes all of that kind of stuff for all of their birthdays. I mean, if you're going to use that stuff, if you're going to have that stuff, then, make it be part of your life. But if the things that you have are stopped up and shoved somewhere, it's just something that gives off something that made me realize I kind of got it. I don't know if I'm getting this clear, but I really got it. I got the reason why. We don't want to hold on to those things. His mother was passed away. She had all of that stuff. Now he had to take care of it. But the thing is that that stuff could have been crumbled up newspaper that somebody replaced it with, and she never would have known. And if God forbid something happened to those 4 boxes, it would have broke her heart. And it would have broke her heart for what? That crumbled up newspapers were gone? You see what I mean? We've given objects a place in our heart and life that that they do not deserve. So in my front porch, when I did that, I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for Tidy Tutor either, because once I realized, first of all, when I said, oh, I don't want to get rid of this stuff, I don't know, but I really want to do this, then I started to calculate how much it was going to cost. You know, I had a whole bunch of windows in there. So, you know, I think it was $10 a panel or something for the curtain. So 2 panels a window. I think there were 9 windows plus 2 skinny ones that I had to get 1 for each. So, you know, right there it was over $100. And the paint for the floor had to be floor paint, you know, because it was a wood plank floor that had already been painted, you know, I think it was gray. So, you know, that wasn't cheap. And then, you know, it started adding up. So I think if it wasn't Tidy Tutor, I would have just said, you know what, nah, I like this stuff. But I did it. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have realized that the stuff had so much of a hold on me, because I never would have went that far. I did end up boxing it up, putting it aside, because I wasn't sure it was going to happen. Turns out all I kept from there was 1 shelf with some stuff on it. Everything else I got rid of. And I was so happy in that room, because that room represented who I am now. All right? So I think I said everything I had to say about that. All right, so I'm going to now just look at the questions for a second and see what we got, if we have any questions or anything. All right, Christina said, my husband and I have, in the past 2 years, had to go through the belongings of a deceased parent, and on a separate occasion had to go through the things of a parent entering a retirement home. Like you said, these were not organizationally challenged people. Things, for the most part, had a place. I refuse to force my children to have to deal with that kind of thing. Amen. Amen. And, you know, like I said, it doesn't have to be a mess that they have to go through, you know. And it affects us. It affects us too. Okay, Rose said, and I'm sorry about what you've had to go through. I know, you know, I'm sorry. All right, Rose said, I have just decided to get rid of an antique dresser that belonged to an old boyfriend. Asshole. But it's good, right? But it's good. It is in my bedroom, and I think it's draining my energy. Bada boom. Yep. But I thought I had to keep it because it's beautiful. It's getting sold. That's great. You know, I had this other video that I did about, I think I called it the glass slipper, because it didn't fit. I had I loved it. I bought it, I think I paid, I don't know, $200 for it in a garage sale, and it was a sideboard for a dining room. I loved it, right? Loved it. I was going to put it in my bathroom upstairs, because I had a big bathroom. And it was, since it was born, the house was born, yeah. Since the house was built, the bathroom is exactly like it was, right? So all it had was a little sink in the wall and great big walls on both sides, right? So I was going to make that be the vanity. So the molding that was on the side of the door, it went into the molding. So I put it in my living room. First it was in the garage for a long time, and then when my brother-in-law came to help me with my garage, he said, Kathy, either get rid of it or bring it in the house. So I bought it in the house, and I put it in my living room. It looked great in there, but it made the living room really not functional. And when Katie moved in, she said, Mom, I mean, you know, I know this is your house, but like we really don't use the living room because of this piece of furniture. It looks good, but it really doesn't work. And I thought, well, I have to keep it because I love it and it's good, but it didn't fit. It didn't fit. Now, in your case, it might fit and it's beautiful, but it's connected to something that you don't want to be connected to anymore. Just because something is lovely and it fits you doesn't mean you have to keep it. Just because something is beautiful and you have room for it in your house doesn't mean you have to keep it. It's like Rose saying, it's beautiful and I love it, but I really don't love it. And we are conditioned, that's the word I was looking for, we're conditioned to behave a certain way, and this is one of those things. Okay, so the reason for the car coming to get us, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this up. So the reason for the car coming to get us, and that's because if we are going to be there, if we're going to say, all right, moving day is, you know, January 1st, say, all right, or moving day is August 23rd, whenever you want to say it, but we're still going to be home, I moved enough times to know you're not going to be ready. You're going to think you are, but you're not. And since you aren't actually moving, you won't even know it. So it has to be that not only is moving day this day, but you have to leave it for somebody else to pack. You will see things differently than you would if you were doing it. Because every time you would say, oh, well, that's right, I can get that then. Oh, that's okay, I could do that. All right, well, all right, I'll put that there. There's always so much residual stuff that accumulates as you're doing this, that if you actually are getting the house completely streamlined and perfect so that a moving company can come in and do it for you, there can't be a whole bunch of crap laying around, because then you know what they're going to do is they're just going to shove all that crap in a box, and it's not permitted. You're not letting that happen. And we're going to get into a little bit how come you're going to be really, really serious about that. All right, the other thing, it's all in our own imagination. Okay, that's all about this. This challenge is between you and you. What do you want it to imagine it to be? Do you now? We definitely have to imagine that we have to move out and move in. We definitely have to imagine that, because without the move thing, it loses its effect. But we can still keep our house to be home base, because it's your dream. You can make it what you want it to be. So let's say you don't want to leave your house, but you're being relocated for a job, and you're going to love this. You're taking your whole family with you. It's what you want, but you want to keep your home base. Keep your home base. Make it that's what's happening in your world, that your home base is going to stay like it is. And so because, well, your home base is going to stay the home that you're in, but because you're getting this kind of like keys to a new life, you've decided that this new life is going to have a beautiful, fresh, clean slate. Let's say now you say, you know what? While I'm away, I'm going to have the bathroom done, the kitchen done, and I'm going to have the whole house painted. Well, that can't happen with all kinds of stuff in the way. And it's not a new life when you still have, the 1989 greeting cards stuck together in a drawer, right? So imagine it for your life. If you want to, say that I want to leave here and go to a beautiful island that is a little cabana on the beach with minimal things. I want it to be just an oasis, and I want to get rid of everything else. Then that's your dream, and then you work towards that. You get it? So it's all about what you want. So determine it, all right? Determine it, and then in your imagination, have it go that way. We've lost so much of our inner child, and that inner child is still there. It's still there, and it wants to play. It wants to play. Make this a game. It'll be so much more fun. So it's all about your imagination. How do you want to do it? And another thing too is you can move and completely, say you say, yeah, I'm done with this place. I'm getting relocated to wherever, all right? And where you're going is a mansion, a great, great big house with whatever, ornate things and stuff. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you want it to reflect the tidy you, because that's the point, okay? But it's still, you can have many things. It's not about having not things. It's about having things that's authentic to you, that you love, that you need, and that makes you happy. Test the waters with stuff you're getting rid of. Like I did on my porch. I wasn't sure about it. So I box up the stuff and I put it in a room. As you're going through, we have it in TTU, we call it the box it up plan. We make a decision. We don't know what to do with something, so we make a decision to put it in a box and put it somewhere. Put the date on it, put it in our journal, in our binder, that we have this box with these things in it, and it's underneath the stairs in the basement, and I'll have to have a relook at it, put it in your calendar 30 days from now, take a look in that box. And then you'll see it in different eyes, you'll see it in a different light, you'll make a different decision, maybe you'll get rid of all of it, maybe you'll get rid of some of it, maybe you'll decide to keep it. So don't sweat the hard stuff, okay? So that's what we're going to say about that. Think about a getaway cottage you rented. All right, now what I'm talking about is, let's pretend that you and your husband, or you and your girlfriends, or whatever, just booked someplace. You just went to an island somewhere, or you went to Europe, all right? And there you are walking into a villa, and it's trashed. There's mixed-match furniture. One of the legs have books underneath them because the leg is missing. The kitchen is a mess. You open up the refrigerator, it needs to be wiped out. What would you do? You would be angry. Why are we more angry about a place that we're going to stay in for a freaking week than we are the place that we live in 24/7, 365 days a year, right? So when you're doing that, I want you to keep that in mind. All right? When you're doing this challenge, I want you to keep that in mind. Choosing a timeline. Okay, here's the other thing. The choosing a timeline. You may not be able to determine how long it will take you to get through your house. Some of you may be able to help others, in that, because, maybe you've had a really, really wrecking place. How long did it take you to get through one of those rooms? And then also, what's your energy level? What's your health like? Do you have the stamina to put in an hour a day? An hour a day is optimum if you're serious about getting it done. An hour a day is optimum. 15 minutes a day, is still so good and you'll get so much done. If you can do the 15 minutes a day thing, I really, really suggest that you do it, that bare minimum. So make a timeline for yourself. When is moving day? Or even maybe if you want to, you could just do it that you have, like, say, like a fitness challenge, right? Like if you're 300 pounds and you started a 6-week challenge, in that 6 weeks, you're not going to be at goal, but what can you be at that 6 weeks? If you're going to lose 2 pounds a week, right, then you're going to lose 12 pounds in that 6 weeks. So your goal from day 1 to 6 weeks is 12 pounds, okay? So you can do that too if you want to, all right? You can do that. You could say, well, my goal is like say you say the house you'll be moving in 1 year from today. You can't say, I have a year to get this done. You won't do anything. You're not going to do it. So you can say, my moving date is May 31st in the next year, right? Right now, this is 2016, May 31st. So my goal for today might be next year, this time, May 31st, 2017 is my moving day. But then, maybe you have 300 pounds to lose, right? Maybe you have a lot of stuff to go through. Even if your place is, like this place is not, I don't have all that much stuff. It's going to take me some time because, when I got rid of all that stuff I got rid of, the stuff that I kept, I wanted to keep. And I know it isn't stuff I really needed to keep. It's just stuff I couldn't let go of. And since it was such a little amount, I took it. I don't know what it is. Like maybe there's like a box of papers. No, I know there's a box of papers. There's pictures. So, I'm not going to get rid of all the pictures, but there's a lot of pictures that I can start dispersing. There aren't so many, thank God, because I used to be a scrapbooking queen, so I really did organize all of my pictures. But, when you move, you have, what we have when we de-junk, we have a shoebox, and what you find pictures, put pictures in there. So going through the house and going through things, it ended up being quite a lot of pictures. I actually ended up doing a little collage on my, I know you've seen it in some videos, right? A little collage on my on a door of pictures that I was coming across when I was unpacking. So you don't have to have a real lot of stuff for it to take time, especially when you get to those little things. All right. So set a time. When will it be? 6 months from now? 3 months from now? And then whenever that will be, what will you work on? What will you do now? Set a goal for it. Do it zone by zone, room by room. All right, this is my zone is my living room, dining room, side entranceway. That's my zone, say, right? And if that's your zone, all right, what are you going to do? This month is going to be, or this week is going to be, all right? You determine. And then what I want you to do is I want you to do it in that little pieces, okay? So we're not going to do a great big broad thing like, all right, well, this is going to be this month. Like, we don't tick that way. Like, when are we going to learn? We don't tick that way. We don't like to see things so far into the future. It makes us kind of like bleary-eyed, right? So keep it small, all right? Keep it small. Determine, though, when you'd like it to happen. Now, look, just like when you'd like to happen, as far as like, I'd like to move in 6 months. I want to make this a 6-month project, or a year or 3 months, whatever it is. But remember, like I just did with that challenge, I committed to, I think it was, I don't know, an 8-week challenge or something like that, an 8-week challenge. And in 6 weeks, I'm not exactly where I should be. So what do I have to do? I have to readjust my, my date now. So you could do that. Don't quit along the way. Learn from it. Take a look. Don't beat yourself up. Big freaking deal. What's going on between now and then? You're letting your hair grow? Don't use it as an excuse. Just take a look and say, all right, how did this happen? Okay? Because now, I didn't eat junk food, all right? I didn't eat crap. I drank alcohol is what I did. I think that was my main thing. And I didn't stick faithful with my protein. So, and there were some days that I didn't eat enough calories, and I found out that that will actually make you gain weight or not lose any weight because your body will slow its metabolism down because you have to eat the amount of calories that, you're supposed to eat. So there was a whole bunch of things that screwed me up. So I step back, I take a look. Okay, what happened? What do I have to do now? So that's what you're going to do with this, all right? But we're still going to post pictures, all right? I still posted a picture. We're still going to post pictures. So make a determination. How long do you want it to be? And now, microcosm it, all right? Is that a word, microcosm? Make it into little sections and say, okay, I want to move in 6 months, and I'm going to move to a great big house, but I want to have it only the things that I know and love. Almost everything that I have in furniture is going to come with me. Like, make it detailed, imagine it. The more real you can make it in your head, the more fun it's going to be, and the more, I don't know if the word more, the more likely it is that you're going to stick to it. All right? So, and then decide, all right, it's my living room. I'm going to do my living room in 1 week. And so take a picture of it, well, every little detail of it, inside of anything that you have, inside of drawers, behind a couch, all your details. And then you say, all right, now I'm done with that this week. This week I'm going to do my kitchen, but I want 2 weeks for my kitchen. All of the pictures, before and after. All right, you have 2 weeks for that. Okay, you get it? See what's this? Maybe you have a closet that you want an entire week for. All right, see? Now let's say you do that closet for the entire week, and then you say, just like I did with the whole diet thing. All right, it took me longer than the week. Why was that? Was it because I didn't give it enough time? Or was it because I didn't put enough time into it? Was it because I got like depressed because of the stuff I didn't want to have to go through? Like, just ask the questions. When you ask the questions, you get the answers, and that's what our group is for, okay? Taking pictures, posting pictures. I already said that, all right? You're going to take pictures, you're going to post them. In the beginning and in the end. Like when you finish a section, you're going to, you could do it. If you're going to do a room, say, in a whole month, then once a week, you better post a picture, all right? You better post progress. And setting your goal, and we talked about that too. You're going to set your goal. What is your goal? And now in the setting your goal thing, that is in more than one thing. Like how long do you want to move by? How long do you want to get done with this room? How much time are you going to give it? Are you going to leave the area completely and go into a teeny tiny place? Are you going to leave the area completely and go into a great big place, a medium place? Are you going to take your stuff with you? Are you going to keep a home base central, and you're going to get the house like renovated and painted and stuff while you're done, because you're going to be moving back and forth from that one little place to this place? See what I mean? Make a plan. Daydream for it. If you're not ready to get started until the 7th, then don't get started until the 7th. If you want to, have all the imagination in place, that kind of thing. All right, so that's that. We're done with this. I'm really excited about this. I am really excited. So I'm going to look at questions now, and if anybody wants me to unmute you, please tell me to. All right, Sarah said, hi, Kathy, I'm new to the family. How do I join the Facebook group? All right, if you go to TTU, where you log in, and you see your course, there's supposed to be a join my Facebook group there, where you click it, and you can join it. I think it's in video 3 or something on session 1, where I talk about joining the Facebook group. At that time, when I did that video, Facebook, you were not allowed to be in a closed group unless you were that person's friend. They changed that now. Now you're allowed to ask to join. You don't have to be the Facebook friend. So I did it that you had a friend request me, then you had to tell me you wanted to get in the group, then I had to get you in. But that isn't the way it goes anymore. So there's a link on there that says, that you want to join the Facebook group, and I hope it's there. If it's not, I'll put it in the chat right now so you can click on it, but I would like to know if you could tell me if it's there or not, because sometimes in websites things, might be broken or something, and I don't know about it. Another thing too is that I have to update my site about my, our TTU thing, is that if your name is not the same name on Facebook that you're registered in, you've got to tell me, because if I open it up and I say, oh, Morgan Fairchild wants to be part of the group, but Morgan Fairchild on Facebook is really Morgan Roberts in the real world. But, maybe she doesn't want everybody in work to find her on Facebook, so she just made Morgan Fairchild be her name on there. How am I going to know that? And it's such a pain in the neck for me to have to, it's actually impossible, because there's no real details about people on Facebook. So it's not like I could get your email address and see if your email address is what you registered for. You know what I mean? So if your name is different, tell me what your name is that you registered for. Like, hi, my name is Morgan Roberts, but I'm on Facebook as Morgan Fairchild. Get it? I need to stay focused. It's like training. Yep, it's something I need help with managing, or it falls down the priority list. Yes, and another thing too is that we forget. That's why this is something that has to be in a progression, so that we don't forget. And another thing too, remember, it's the best time of year to get started. Things are getting so relaxed now. This is fabulous. And then we'll be set up for September and for the holidays. This is beautiful. All right, take care, everybody. Love yous.